You're sitting there, maybe at the end of the month, doing that thing where you open your banking app and then immediately close it because you already know it's not going to make you feel good. You know exactly how much is in there. You've done the mental math 15 times already. Rent went out, the car insurance hit, you grabbed groceries, the expensive ones because you were tired and just didn't want to think. And now you're sitting with whatever's left, which honestly isn't much. And somewhere in the back of your head there's this quiet, almost embarrassing thought. How is anyone actually building wealth on a salary like mine? And the frustrating part is that you're not doing anything wrong exactly. You're not out here blowing money on yachts. You're just living. And somehow, living costs everything you make. My name is Josh, and I spend probably way too much time thinking about money. Not in a Wall Street spreadsheet-obsessed kind of way, but more in that nagging, why does this feel so hard for so many people kind of way. I've talked to people who earn six figures and are completely broke. I've talked to people who spent entire careers on modest salaries and quietly, without anyone really noticing, became millionaires. And the gap between those two groups almost never comes down to income. That's the part that took me a long time to really believe. But once I did, it changed everything about how I thought about money. So today, I want to walk you through what those quiet, low-salary millionaires actually did differently. Not the motivational poster version. The real version, the one with all the boring, unglamorous details that nobody makes a YouTube video about because they're not exciting enough. But they work. And by the end of this, I genuinely think you're going to look at your financial situation differently than you did when you clicked on this video. Okay, so let's address the thing that almost everyone does, because I did it too, and it cost me years. The thinking goes like this. I'll start saving and investing when I get the raise, when I finish paying off this debt, when my life settles down a little. It sounds completely logical. It sounds responsible even. Why invest $50 a month when $50 feels like it's barely making a dent? Why not wait until you can do it properly? Here's why. Because of something called compound interest, which I know you've heard of, but I'm not sure anyone has explained it in a way that actually lands emotionally. So let me try. Imagine you're planting a tree. In year one, the tree is laughably small. It doesn't provide shade. It doesn't look impressive. If someone walked past and saw it, they wouldn't think, oh, wow, a tree. They'd think, oh, a stick. But you keep watering it. And by year 10, it's providing real shade. By year 20, it's a tree that other things grow around. By year 30, it's become the kind of thing that makes the whole yard. Compound interest works the same way. Every dollar you invest today starts earning returns, and then those returns start earning returns on top of themselves. It's money making money, but only if you start. The person who starts with $100 a month at 25 will almost always end up with more wealth than the person who starts with $500 a month at 40, even though the second person contributed more money in total. That's not a motivational thing I made up. That's just the math. The low-salary millionaires I've read about and studied almost universally started early and started small. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't wait for a big income. They started with what felt almost pointless, and they let time do the heavy lifting. The actionable version of this is simple. Start now. Today, not next month. If you can put away $25 this week, do it. Open an index fund account, set up automatic contributions, and then and I mean this, forget about it. Let the tree grow. This one is genuinely a little anticlimactic, so I apologize in advance. The financial media, the YouTube algorithms, the Reddit threads, the finance podcasts, they have this enormous incentive to make investing sound exciting. Because excitement gets clicks, excitement gets engagement. And so you end up with constant noise about the next big stock, the crypto that's about to explode, the options strategy that some guy on the internet turned into $1 million in 14 months. And some of that stuff works. Sometimes, for some people. But you know what works consistently for regular people with regular incomes over long periods of time? Index funds. The most boring investment vehicle in the history of investing. An index fund is basically just you're buying a tiny piece of thousands of companies at once. You're not betting on one company. You're betting on the entire market. And historically, over any given 30-year period, the market has gone up. Not every year, not without crashes and scary moments, but over time, up. Warren Buffett, who is, let's be honest, pretty good at investing, has repeatedly said that for most ordinary people, a simple, low-cost index fund is the best investment they can make. He's even said that when he dies, the instructions for the money left to his wife are to put 90% of it in an S&P 500 index fund. That's it. No fancy strategy, no team of analysts, just the market, steadily, over time. The reason low-salary earners can use this is because you don't need a lot of money to start. Many index funds have no minimum investment now. You can start with whatever you have. And then you contribute automatically, regularly, and you don't touch it, and you don't panic when the market drops, which it will, and you just stay the course. The unsexy truth of wealth building is that it mostly looks like doing the same boring thing, quietly, for a very long time. There's no montage. There's no dramatic moment. There's just consistency. Here's something I think gets lost in most money conversations. Low-salary millionaires aren't necessarily people who deprived themselves of every joy and lived like monks for 30 years. Some did. But most of them found a different approach. They got obsessive about one number: their savings rate. Your savings rate is the percentage of your income that you save and invest. And it turns out, this number is probably the single most powerful variable in your entire financial life. More powerful than your income. More powerful than which specific investments you pick. Let me give you a quick example that will probably mess with your head a little. If you earn $40,000 a year and save 10% of it, you're putting away $4,000 a year. If you earn $120,000 a year and save 5%, you're putting away $6,000 a year. The high earner is saving more in absolute terms, sure. But the low earner, if they maintain that savings rate and grow it over time, is building a habit and a foundation that the high earner is undermining with their lifestyle. And this is where something called lifestyle inflation becomes the villain of the story. Lifestyle inflation is what happens when your income goes up, and immediately, almost automatically, your expenses go up to match it. The raise comes in, and suddenly you need a slightly nicer car. The promotion hits, and of course you move to the better apartment. It happens so gradually, so naturally, that most people don't even notice they're doing it. But the result is that no matter how much more they earn, they never actually get ahead. The goalpost keeps moving. The people who build wealth on low salaries are the people who learn to resist this. Not perfectly, not joylessly, but intentionally. They find a savings rate they can live with. Maybe 15%, maybe 20%, maybe even higher. And they protect it like it's sacred. When their income grows, they let a portion of that growth improve their lifestyle. But they also let a portion of it improve their savings rate. The number keeps climbing, slowly. The money keeps compounding. If you take nothing else from this video, take this. Figure out your savings rate today. Actually calculate it. Whatever it is, see if you can push it up by even 2 to 3% this year. That's it. Small increases, sustained over time, are how regular people get to 7 figures. This one is a little bit uncomfortable, but I think it's important, so let's just go there. There is an enormous amount of money in this world spent on appearing financially comfortable. The lease on the car that costs more than someone can afford. The apartment in the neighborhood that eats 40% of the paycheck, the vacations posted to Instagram that were put entirely on a credit card, the watches, the bags, the dinners, all of it performing a version of wealth that hasn't actually been built yet. And I want to be careful here because I'm not saying nice things are bad. I'm not saying you should live in misery. But there's something worth examining in why we feel the pull to signal wealth before we have it. A lot of it honestly comes down to social comparison, this deeply human instinct to want to be perceived a certain way by the people around us. And companies have built entire industries on exploiting exactly that instinct. The millionaires who built their wealth quietly on ordinary incomes, a classic archetype that Thomas Stanley and William Danko documented brilliantly in The Millionaire Next Door, tend to look unremarkable. They drive used cars. They live in modest houses. Their neighbors have no idea, because they figured out, somewhere along the way, that the money you don't spend on looking wealthy is money that is actively becoming wealth. Every dollar that doesn't go to the performance goes into the foundation. This doesn't mean you have to deprive yourself. It means being intentional, spending generously on things that genuinely matter to you, and cutting ruthlessly on things that you're buying for other people's approval. That distinction, spending for yourself versus spending for an audience, is one of the most clarifying financial questions you can ask. Here's a thing that bothers me more than it probably should. Billions of dollars in tax-advantaged retirement savings go unclaimed every single year because people either don't know about these accounts or don't fully understand them. If your employer offers a 401k match, meaning they will match a portion of whatever you contribute, and you're not contributing at least enough to get the full match, you are leaving free money on the table, genuinely free. That match is an immediate 50 to 100% return on that portion of your contribution before any market returns even happen. There is nothing in the investing world that compares to that. Beyond employer matching, there are accounts like Roth IRAs, depending on where you live, there are local equivalents, that let your investments grow completely tax-free. You put in money that's already been taxed, it grows for decades, and when you withdraw it in retirement, you pay no tax on any of the gains. For someone on a lower income who's in a lower tax bracket now, this is extraordinarily powerful. The low-salary millionaires used these accounts to the maximum extent they could. They didn't leave the free money sitting there. They learned the rules, which honestly aren't that complicated once you sit with them for an afternoon, and they played by them. I want to end the main body of this with something that's less about strategy and more about psychology, because I think it might actually be the most important thing. Building wealth on a low salary is slow. It is genuinely, painfully slow in the beginning. You invest for months, maybe years, and the number in your account doesn't feel impressive. It's not going to come up naturally in conversation. Nobody is going to congratulate you. There's no external feedback loop telling you that you're doing the right thing. And this is where most people quit. Not because the strategy stops working, because it doesn't feel like it's working. The people who make it through are the ones who find a way to make peace with the slowness. Some of them track their net worth religiously and find motivation in the tiniest upward movement. Some of them read stories of people who've done it before them. Some of them just automate everything and stop looking because they know that watching the account is more likely to make them do something stupid than something smart. The compounding, remember, is geometric. It starts almost imperceptibly, and then, at some point, it begins to accelerate. The money you have starts earning more than you're contributing, and then significantly more, and then the account starts growing in a way that would have seemed impossible when you started. But you have to stay in the game to get there. The market will crash, and it will feel terrifying. Your income will sometimes feel suffocating. You will have months where unexpected expenses eat your entire investment contribution. All of that is normal. The people who became millionaires on low salaries aren't the ones who had a perfect journey. They're the ones who kept showing up anyway. So let's bring this back around to where we started. You, sitting there, looking at your bank account, wondering if this is just how it's going to be. The honest answer is, it doesn't have to be. And what I hope you're taking away from this isn't some pumped-up motivation that fades by tomorrow morning. I hope what you're feeling is something quieter than that, a kind of clarity, because the path to building real wealth, even on an ordinary income, isn't mysterious. It's not locked behind a high salary or a lucky break or some secret that only rich people know. It's starting early, even when it feels pointless. It's investing simply and consistently in boring index funds for a long time. It's protecting your savings rate like it matters, because it does, more than almost anything else. It's resisting the pull to perform wealth before you've built it. It's eliminating the debt that's working against you. It's using the tax-advantaged tools the system has already built for you. And it's finding a way to keep going through the slow parts, which is most of it. None of this is glamorous. I know that. I know it doesn't make for a great highlight reel, but the people who actually do it, the ones who look unremarkable at 40 and are quietly, genuinely financially free by 55, they're not unicorns. They're just people who decided to take the long view seriously and who didn't let their income become an excuse. You can do this. Not in spite of your salary, alongside it, starting wherever you are, with whatever you have, right now. That's enough. That has always been enough. You just have to begin. Now, if you enjoyed this video and found something valuable, make sure to like, comment. I read every comment, and don't forget to subscribe. It helps me understand and grow. Now see you in the next video.